My name is Christina De Leon and I am bisexual. There's this show called The 100 on the CW. They this year killed their lead lesbian character who was named Lexa. The importance of that character resonated massively with so many people online that they actually started a fundraiser for people who are affected by the death of the character. In the episode, she has sex with a woman, and in the very next scene is shot by her father figure. This television character meant so much to so many people, in particular girls, young girls across the nation, that a group of them started donation box to the Trevor Project, and they raised, to this day, I think the number is $162,000 in the name of this one character, and I think that's incredible. And I feel so proud of those young girls, and most of them are still in high school, and they probably did it, I don't want to speak for anyone, but they probably did it in secret. No one in their life knows. And they did it through Tumblr, they did it in their Tumblr community, and I found that to be incredible, and it just made me so happy to see that they are trying to help each other because no one else will, and I think that's beautiful. When my girlfriend and I were looking for our first apartment together, there was this one apartment that we really loved that was in an area of the neighborhood that we really loved. The landlord or manager was showing us the apartment. I could see him trying to figure out why we were looking for a one-bedroom, and I had watched many managers do the same thing for a few days. It was awkward, and I felt weird, and I imagine that most of it was in my head with the other managers, but with this one in particular, he straight out asked us if we will be sharing the apartment, and then we said yes, and then he said, "You'll be sharing the room," and we said yes, and he gave us this look that was just disapproving. Thankfully, that's where it ended. He gave us the paperwork reluctantly. We really wanted the apartment. We called and he never got back to us, and we just knew that it was because we would be living together and because we were in a relationship. Thankfully, that's the worst it's ever gotten for me, but even that sent me into a sort of spiral, because it was a reminder that even in Los Angeles, where it's supposed to be safe, there are still these people who have these opinions and who will not give you an apartment even though you've been with your girlfriend for, at that point, 4 years, which is more than a lot of other people. The way that I had to pull myself out of that was, and I hate this, but to turn the other cheek. I hate doing it, but if I don't, I would be a miserable person. Anytime something as little as that happens to me, I get fired up because I want to correct that behavior in someone. It sucks to hear, but you have to turn the other cheek to survive. There was a period of time before I was with my girlfriend. There was something stopping us from being together. It was the worst year of my life, and toward the end, it got to be so difficult that I couldn't even hold it together in front of my parents, which was a problem because I was living in their house. And so my dad came home from work. I was in a really pissy mood, and I usually am when I'm living in my parents' house. He sort of chalked it up to that, just another one of my moods, and it wasn't until I started crying that he understood what was happening. And they had known about my girlfriend, and they had known that I wanted to be with her, and they had known that we couldn't be together. So he just knew, and he hugged me, which I don't usually do with my dad, and he just said, "You really love her, don't you?" And until this moment, he hadn't said much about her. Not because he was disapproving at all, but that was the one thing that sort of allowed me to place a trust in him, was him acknowledging that I could love her so much. And in that moment, I just felt incredibly safe. And he didn't say anything after that. I just felt like everything was fine. Everything would be okay. I would say, know who you are. Don't let anyone try and change that. Find a safe space, even if it is online. There's no shame in that. Just find a safe space for you to be 100% yourself. And also, please write about it and tell your stories. In any form, in a play, in a song, in film, in a fan fiction. Just these stories need to be told, and I think that you are the right person to tell them. Anyone who has a problem with sexuality should understand, or a sexuality that is not heterosexual, should understand that there's nothing that you can do about it. Because that's who this person is, that's who I am, that's who we are, that's who these people are. At the core, they will still be that same person. And that same thing that you don't like about them will still be there. You're spending all this time and energy, being so full of hate. I think if you make an effort to understand, just an effort, gradually, whatever it is, fear or hatred, will go away. But it is your decision to try and understand. You have to take the first step.